I'll hit it right there. So we'll put the bell here and I'll strike.
Okay. That can be arranged.
Strike the bell.
Okay, folks, it is 7 o'clock. I will now call this meeting to order. Everyone, please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will now have a moment of silence.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, well before any of us were on this board, some governmental agency decided that we needed to have a moment of silence. During the moment of silence, I do sit here and I ask the Lord to give me wisdom to conduct the county's business in the proper ways and to help me make decisions that I need to make. Tonight, I ask you to give us just a little bit longer moment of silence because we've got some people that I think we need to put our hearts out for. And of course, these people have touched all of Madison County's residents. One of them is Supreme Court Justice Scalia and his family. Everybody in this room, whether they know it or not, has been affected by the work he did. And the other person is Reverend B.P. Boyle for his family and the congregation of Arrington Branch Baptist Church. He's done a lot of good works for our county and for the people of our county. And I think, if everybody's so inclined, I would hope that they would have extra thoughts for those two individuals and their families tonight, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. This time, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay. Board, you have in front of you our agenda. Are there any changes or deletions to the agenda as you can see? No additions, deletions, or changes?
Mr. Chairman, item 8,
Yes.
Tammy Cody is in Raleigh. She said that could wait till March.
We will omit number 8. Any other changes? Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda with the changes stated?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion to change the agenda as stated and approve it. Motion made by Commissioner Gentry, second by Commissioner Wakefield. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, likewise. Thank you. Approval of the minutes. This approval of the minutes is for January 19th, 2016, January 14th, 2016, February 2nd, 2016 minutes. Any discussion or changes to the minutes? Do I hear a motion to approve the January 14th, January 19th, and February 2nd minutes?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on the minutes, January 14th, on page 4, third paragraph, motion from Commissioner Wechtel, seconded by Commissioner, and no one is listed.
Does anyone recall who seconded that?
Pretty sure it was Norris.
I think I did, yes. I will accept your.
Okay, we will write in,
Want to check the film?
excuse me?
Check the camera.
Yes.
Yeah, we can check that.
We'll write in Commissioner Gentry, and then we will double check that with our filming of the meetings. Any more changes that we see in front of you? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve January 14th, January 19th, and February 2nd minutes?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to approve the minutes by Commissioner Rice, second by Commissioner Weckel. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Okay. At this time, we have two people for public comment. Ms. Debbie Davis is your first on the list. And you have 3 minutes to speak. And if someone can start the clock.
And I'm known for not telling a short story. So. My name is Debbie Davis, and this is Pia Cash, and we're here representing a group called Fences for Friends. And it's the goal of our organization that Madison County pass an ordinance that would ban the permanent chaining of dogs. And we have done research. We've talked to other cities and counties in North Carolina that have done this, and really this is a trend that's happening across all of the states. And we've shared information with the commissioners and with our county manager and our shelter director. And so we're here tonight just to bring it to everyone's attention again. And our group would be happy to be a part of crafting what this could look like. Different cities and counties have done it different ways, and we want to be part of the solution. The way we see it is, if this ordinance passes or when, it would have a year before it becomes official, and during that year, our organization would help people in many ways. One of them would be we would donate materials to build fences for the dogs that are on chains, thereby giving them an area to be in. We would also do training. Pia is in fact a trainer and a behaviorist with families, and teach them how to interact with their dogs in different ways so the dog could become a part of the household, part of the family. We would also help rehome animals. We've been in touch with groups that can foster, and we have some foster capabilities. So if that was a solution, we can do that. And we would also provide zip lines so that dogs, if they were still confined in some way, they would at least have a line to run on and get exercise. And one of the reasons we want to do this, well, actually many of the reasons that we want to do this include the fact that, you know, if any of us ask a dog, do you want to spend your life on a chain? I think at least I bet my bottom dollar no dog would say yes. So we're being their voice, and we also have been talking this up in the county, and we have, since the beginning of January, 374 names of Madison County residents that would support this. We're going to continue those efforts. We have talked with people born and raised in Madison County. We have talked with hunters who don't chain their dogs and take very good care of them. We have talked with people who moved to the county and made Madison County, chose to live here and contribute to the tax base. So we've touched a wide variety of people that have signed. One of the other reasons, other than just the humane reason, would be for economic reasons. We personally have experienced people who have moved, I know this for a fact, because they did not want to live next door to someone who had dogs chained because of the barking, and they didn't want to see it every day. And we've also had people that have come forward, real life story, where they actually sold their house and moved for the same reason. So there's other reasons than humane. So anyway, we would be happy to pursue this with you in any way, shape, or form, and thanks for your time.
Thank you. Is it Cal?
This is all the extra.
Yes.
Good evening. I just wanted to bring up something that you all may be well aware of, that Expo Madison is going to have their event on March 12th at Mars Hill University. It's sponsored between the university and the Madison County Chamber. It is a great opportunity for businesses to showcase all that they offer to the folks in Madison County so that they can take advantage of those services and those organizations. It will be the first of many. We're very, very excited. Our goal is to have 55 exhibitors. We are going to reach that goal. We hope to have 200 folks from the county come and learn what's available. We will have refreshments and entertainment and children's activities. It's wonderful for everyone concerned, both for people who live here, for businesses that depend upon those folks, and for economic development. So we hope that the commissioners will support this effort in the form of a resolution, and that would be submitted to the paper. And we hope you all come and be part of this wonderful day.
What are the hours?
11 to 4, and it is at the Chambers Gym at the university.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sandy Stevenson.
Good evening. I am here on two things. The first I'm going to talk to you about is in my position as part-time director of the Madison County Visitor Center. You have our annual report in your packet already, and I'm just going to go over some of the highlights. I am a part-time director and am assisted by a wonderful volunteer group, and they put in over 2,000 hours this past year. Some of the things that we've done in marketing is at the beginning of 2015, there was a free mobile app that we put out and a video that is on the homepage of the website. We advertised that with these tent cards that went around all over the county. I redesigned
Thank you.
the driving tour that we have of Madison County, putting in a map and some better quality pictures so that you can get an opportunity to see that. Often when people come into the visitor center, they sometimes just want to get a glimpse of our county. So that is a way to do that. Over, I think it was 2013, the TDA sponsored us and pays every year for us to send out a weekly newsletter. And that has risen to 450 people that it reaches now. It started out at 220. I'm really happy about that. I see people throughout the county who say they always look forward to seeing what's going on in the county. So it is designed to go out to tourism businesses, plus it goes out to anybody who wants to get it. If anybody wants it and doesn't get it, info@visitmadisoncounty.com and we'll put you on it. So if you've got relatives or friends who come in to visit you, you know what you can do with them for the week. It goes out on Tuesday, covers Wednesday to Wednesday, and future things that are happening. Our budget, you can see that our expenses were around $29,000 and our income was around $31,000. Our contact with the public increased by about 3% for walk-ins and people who phoned or emailed us. And our web visits increased by about 4%, although we had a problem with the analytics for a couple of months, so it's probably a lot more than that. This coming year, we plan to put ads in the Asheville Citizen-Times. We're trying to reach out to grab all those people who go to Asheville and they're only a little bit away from us. So I've been working with Mr. Ricker with the TDA, and we're about to sign some contracts to put some billboards up there too. And we have a stand that's about this height that is going to have a computer tablet on it, and it'll be in both the visitor center the County Visitor Center that's in Mars Hill, the Welcome Center that's in Hot Springs, and the Town Hall in Marshall. And it will have kind of a scaled down version of our website for people who walk in and they just want to glance through some of the things that we have to offer. Okay, anybody have any questions about the visitor center?
Looks like you're doing an excellent job. That's great.
I meant to point out this map that we've already produced one reprint of at the beginning of last year. We're working on another reprint. And on the back side, which is Western North Carolina, this new reprint is going to have 3 circles that'll have the town, main part of the town, so that the advertisers will be better located for that. Have y'all seen that? Brought those two.
I think I picked one up somewhere.
All right, are you ready for me to move on to the next
Yes.
point on the agenda? Okay. My volunteer position is as president of the Appalachian Barn Alliance, and you also have that in your packet. And I like to come up here once a year and kind of tell you what we've been doing for the past year. We've been in business about 3 years now, and really proud of what we've been doing. David Wyatt, who is out here, is one of our board members. Ryan, Cody, whom you know, and the other board members are listed at the bottom of your sheet. This last year, we got a $7,000 matching grant from the Blue Ridge National Heritage Area, and we raised money with concerts, memberships, donations, and we have an annual Barn Day tour. And we use that money to contract with Taylor Barnhill, who is our lead researcher, who does all of the oral histories, the photography, the architectural drawings of our barns. We do 2 things with what we gather. We put it on our website and we share it with some archival places, the Department of Cultural Resources, Mars Hill University, and that's available. All the detailed information is available for students and public as well. And from the tourism aspect, we produce a self-guided tour of, we try to put in 9 to 10 barns of each township. The most recent one we finished is the Walnut Township. And if you want to open that up, because number 1 in that one is a Brigman barn. So we appreciate your help. That's what Taylor has to do. He has to go out to the people who know the history of the barn, and it tells a little bit of a story. So it's a self-guided tour. One of the things that we have as our major fundraiser is Barn Day, and it's in May. This year it'll be May 21st. And we get a bus and take people out to a barn, past a few barns, and we bring them back and feed them dinner and have a silent auction, and it's our major fundraiser. Last year we expanded it to make it Barn Month, and this year I'm very pleased that the Arts Council is going to participate, and we're going to have an exhibit of barn images, pictures, oil paintings, watercolors, that sort of thing at the Arts Council the entire month. We'll have an open house at a barn, Root Bottom Farm, and we're going to have a workshop then too. So our goal for this next year, of course, is to hopefully get another grant and to expand our barn month. And we are going to be in Plow to Pantry. If you are familiar with that publication, they have asked that Taylor write an article for every month. It's a quarterly publication, sister publication to the Laurel of Asheville. So look for the March issue, and you'll find one of our articles from starting then and from that point on. Okay, Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to go back to the visitor center issue and just compliment Sandy and everyone for the work they're doing with, she did misspeak, I think, and reversed revenues and expenses.
Oh, sorry.
They're bringing in a little more than, revenues are above expenses, so that's a good thing. And
Thanks
they're
for
doing
catching
a good
that.
job on a shoestring budget, particularly everybody who goes in that door feels good about Madison County, and the website it's amazing how much that's taken off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Connie?
I'm a little shorter than Sandy. Thank you very much for letting me be here tonight. Last summer, I came and spoke to the commissioners after the USA Cycling National College Championship that was held here in May. And I provided at that time the economic impact study, not a very official study, but it was something that I pulled together to show how important it was to have the National Collegiate Championship here. And at that time, I provided a copy in your packets. And at that time, I did say that I would come back for the 2016 event. And officially, what I'm here to do is to ask that the county commissioners approve our request for the road closure on the Sunday, May 15th, from downtown Marshall down to the Buncombe County line. And that would be pretty much a full day closure for the safety of the cyclists. I'm going to back up a little bit and talk a little bit about the event. We brought in 400 or so cyclists from over 100 universities and colleges from all over the United States. And if you think about it, it's the National College Championships. And so for every student, a lot of times they're bringing mom and dad and siblings, and they turn it into a family vacation to come to watch their child compete in the national championships. So it's a lot of people that we would be bringing to Madison County. This is it happens every 2 years in a different location around the country. It was 2015 and 2016 is when it was meant to be here, and then it's going out to Colorado in 2017. So, the purpose for the road closure is for the cyclists to have the best environment for them to compete at the highest speeds as possible and be as safe as possible from vehicles and them. We don't want to have any accidents. During the closure and prior to the closure, we would of course notify all of the residents that are on that road and the businesses. I've already been working with the churches to talk with them about the closure. Nobody is a prisoner in their home. They do get to leave, but they just get a phone number that says, this is who, you have to call this number and we will give you a police escort to be able to get out to go to church or the groceries or get back into your home. Last year, there were a couple of concerns that happened. I don't know if you were aware. One of the main concerns was that everything said Asheville. It was originally going to be in Asheville, and then 2 of the 3 days were held in Marshall, start and finish in Marshall, but all of the materials still said Asheville, and that was a little offensive to some of us. And we really wanted to get Madison County and Marshall out there, so we talked with USA Cycling. They did make changes, and so the 2016 site is being built right now, and it already says Marshall, so we're real pleased about that. The other concern was that it was held on Mother's Day weekend, and that was a real problem for the churches and for the some of the businesses, and they asked that we move it. We talked to USA Cycling, and we've moved it to the weekend following. That opened up a great opportunity for us. We are now working with Marshall University to use the dorms as an alternative accommodation for the students. Now, if you think about it, some of these colleges have 8, 10, 12 kids on their team. They bring them from Seattle or Kansas City and they come all the way here, and then they have to stay in hotels. That really adds up the cost. So we're really excited that Marshall University is going to have an opportunity to let the students stay there. They will earn some money. And we're going to hopefully host the awards banquet at Marshall University. So we're really excited about keeping people here in Madison County so that they'll spend their money here and not go down to Asheville. Nothing against Asheville, really. So again, my purpose tonight is to ask that we get the approval from the county commissioners for the road closure. It is technically Old Marshall Highway, NC 251, or River Road, I think, from downtown Marshall down to the Buncombe County line. And we do have approval from Marshall, the town of Marshall, to close within the town limits.
Is there any way possible you can do something with the scheduling and not have it closed from 8 a.m.? I mean, you're talking about all day. I had a lot of complaints with people. Is there any way you can close and then have a break to open back up for an hour or two and then close again to give people to do that?
The problem with opening and closing is that the structure that is set across the road, I don't know if you were able to get down there last year, but it's not something you can move. Once it's set up, they've got the barriers up and down the road, and then the big truss structure that goes across the road, and that is not movable once. It takes a couple of hours. In fact, Sebastian helped set it up last year. It takes a couple of hours to set it up. One of the things we did do was work with the Presbyterian Church. They were within the closure, and she's actually talked with her board, and they're going to move their church services up to 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's not going to actually fully close at 8. I'm just using that as an outside window. We can start closing some things, but allow that church to still have service. After they are done, then we would do the full closure, start the races. There are 4 required races to put this on. It's Division I, Division II, both male and female. And that is about a 6 or 7 hour window of closure just to do those races. There are time trials, there's team time trials, and individual time trials. And I've also worked with Reverend Freeman with the First Baptist Church, and we have a really good agreement on how we're going to get his people in and out so that he is not affected and his congregation is able to get into services.
What's the plan if there's an emergency to some of the residents?
I meant to say that earlier. There is absolutely 911, any emergency that trumps all. USA Cycling does this all over the country, and they do several events. They know that any emergency that, they stop the race. Hopefully that won't happen, and then the reason for the phone number is, somebody wants to get out, go to church, go to the grocery, go see somebody. They're not a prisoner in their house. They just have to call ahead, let us know. We'll get them in and out as quickly as possible with the police escort.
How far in advance will the notice be to the public?
I want to say last year, I don't know, Jim, if you were at all involved. Jim McElroy is our director of the event. I want to say it was within 15, 20 minutes. They were able to call and say, I need to go somewhere, and we were able to get them out. And there's, I think, don't quote me, but I think I heard 11 houses that are in this closure.
But how far in advance before this date do you notify them?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question. I'm going to start next month in March, and the newspaper has already been carrying some things about it, and postcards will go out, and there will be door to door. That's the best way that I found. We were working down in Weaverville and in Burnsville, and the only way to really make sure that somebody sees something is to knock on their door. I don't want to do it when it's 50 degrees or 40 degrees and snowy. Hopefully it'll get a little nicer out, and I'll definitely go out and talk with them.
Okay. Any more questions?
No, I do want to make a comment that we talk about promoting Madison County and looking to the future. You've got hundreds of people that come here from all over the United States. And there will be a number of them that really like this. And they may come back. Maybe they'll come back as tourists. Maybe they'll come back to live here. But we also are getting, not just from the commercial point of view, the Sheriff's Department is providing the security, they're providing the other stuff. So a lot of these folks are going to earn extra pay during this period of time. And I think it's overall a very positive thing for the community. It's very good publicity. It gets national good publicity for Madison County. And I think I want to compliment all of you who've worked very hard. I certainly appreciate Commissioner Brigman's concerns. I heard some of the same concerns, but I think you've worked very hard this year to address those. And I think they have been adequately addressed. And I, for one, want to compliment you, and I think this is a very good thing.
Thank you. I do want to also mention that I'm working with the schools to do bike art in the windows in downtown Marshall. And then we put some signage out. Both the high school and the middle school are all on board, and I'm working with Sarah Seeger to see if we can get some elementary schools as well. So,
Can you run something in the paper more than 1 week?
oh yeah,
Letting the public know.
as much as we can.
All right.
Connie Norris talked about the overtime that some of the folks are gonna make. Just to be clear for people who are in the room and maybe watching at home, that's paid for by who?
By USA Cycling, yes,
Right.
and law enforcement was our biggest expense last year, paying for that. Every intersection, we had to have a traffic control trained officer, and so we reached out to the sheriff's department, the police departments, the fire departments. All of them provided staff, which is another reason why Mother's Day weekend was problematic, because it was hard on Sunday to get people to come out. So we're fortunate that it's not Mother's Day.
What were your biggest problems last year? If you had to name a couple, just off the top of your head.
I would say being a first-time event, there were a lot of things that we didn't expect. Road closures, we think that we had communicated that really well. I don't think we communicated it as well as we could have. And bigger signs at strategic places. The other thing is if you've got a road closure and you've got somebody that is working that road closure, they have to know what to tell people. Apparently one person was telling people they had to go all the way around and down to Asheville, and that was so not true. And so we need to just educate all of the volunteers so they know exactly what to do, when to do it, what, all of that stuff. So volunteer labor was hard last year because of Mother's Day weekend, and then just making sure that everyone knows what they're supposed to do with that role. And we learned a lot last year.
Okay.
Can the DOT help in any way by putting up detour signs or anything like that? Have you talked to them?
Absolutely. DOT was very involved last year through Karen Kina. She, with her Town of Marshall hat, had worked, and Land of Sky worked directly with DOT, and we're already talking with them. It's a little bit different this year on how they require the towns to do the approval first. And that's part of the reason why I'm here tonight, is to make sure we do our steps in the order that it's meant to be. And then we'll go talk to Buncombe after we've gotten approval, hopefully, from the county.
So we have 11 households.
That's what I heard last year from Karen, and I didn't double check that, but that's what I heard her say, that it's 11 households in Madison County on that River Road area. It's not that many. 2 of them are aldermen with the Town of Marshall too.
I counted them one day 2 years ago when this was being talked about. 11's about.
Sounds about right. Yep. The other thing we did have was an Airbnb. Somebody had rented their house out, and the tenants that were there that weekend didn't know. And they didn't have that special phone number. So as soon as we heard that, we gave them the information so that they knew that when they needed to leave, because they were leaving on Sunday, So it's those little tweaky things that we will do so much better the second year around.
Any more questions for Connie? Discussion? Okay. Do we want to make a motion for this?
I'll be happy to make a motion.
Okay.
I think any opportunity we can to showcase our county, we need to take advantage of, and I'll second the motion.
Sure.
I have a motion by Commissioner Gentry and a second by Commissioner Weckl for the approval of the close Highway 251 from the edge of town down to the Buncombe County line for Sunday, May the 15th. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise.
I want to ask you a question. I allowed to speak?
No, sir. You have to sign up for public comment to speak.
Okay, we'll do it next time.
Okay.
And I will keep you informed as we get closer to the event.
Okay,
Thank you
thank
very
you.
much.
Ms. Willa Wyatt?
Thank you.
It's just like Christmas.
Yeah, it is. Lots of good stuff, surprises in there.
Thank you, ma'am.
On behalf of the Friends of the Marcel Anderson Rosenwald School, I want to thank you for letting me come tonight and share an update with you about the school. And I'm not good at standing here, but I'll get over here. And I think Mr. Briggs was the sitting commissioner the last time we talked about the Rosenwald School. We were just getting started with that. Each of you are getting a pamphlet to give you a little bit of history about the Rosenwald School, but it is a historic school. It's located in the Mount Olive community, which is the Long Ridge community, the predominantly Black community of Mars Hill. And the school is of historic design, and it is of a historic nature because of the funding and the partnership of Julius Rosenwald and Booker T. Washington in designing and planning for the school. If you will look to your left, there is a banner that's hung here, and that is a banner that was designed using copies of all the panels that were on display in the exhibit this year at the Rural Heritage Museum at Mars Hill University. And when these panels are in storage now, and when the school is finished, those panels will become an exhibition in the school itself. So that's why I want you to see that. You have in your packet an update. It's on the left side, and I want you to look about halfway down, and those of you in the audience are going to hear again that Tourism and Development has helped to sponsor this. We're so gracious and so grateful to that group, Mr. Bill Ricker, that over a 2-year period, the TD has contributed $23,000 to the efforts for rehabilitating this. It is one of Madison County schools. Madison County has retained ownership. It's been part of the county government. It's been a community building. It's been a tobacco barn. It's been a recreation center. You name it, it has been that for years and years. But in the year 2002, the National Historic Trust designated all the existing structures as a part that their listing is that they're on the 11 most endangered species, and that sounds like a funny name, of historic buildings. And it was at that time that folks all across the Southeast began a renovation or rehabilitation for this. Our school happens to be the only one that's standing in Western North Carolina. We just found out, and we've been saying this, there's one that's in a very, very dilapidated stage, probably beyond being able to be saved, that is in Burke County. But just want you to have this information. You've got the history. You're going to see that on your financial report, and I want you to see how transparent we are. We meet every month. Actually, we meet twice a month. We meet on the second Friday of each month at 10 o'clock in the Fellowship Hall in Mount Olive Baptist Church. And then we meet the last Friday of each month at 3 o'clock at the Stevenson Alumni Center in Asheville. So that way we're getting the local alumni and friends, and then moving on to Asheville where more of the alumni and friends live. So I just want you to see that. We are so excited. We have been in the process of raising money over just little tiny bits and pieces, as you can see there, for a long time, since 2010. But we started raising money with a grant application to Lowe's, and we read it and we sent it off, and we said, that they'll give us a real nice rejection letter, and we got one. And so we just stopped and got our history act together. And so this book that you have has gone through several revisions. We actually had it at the printers and realized that instead of the school opening in 1930, it opened in 1928. And so we had to go back and change some dates in there. But just want you to have this. Too much information, it really is TMI for you to have all of this tonight, and I apologize that you didn't get it ahead of time. But I want you to have it so you can study it, and you can see, like I said, we are so excited. Number one, we've outweighed the Department of Cultural Resources and the National Historic Trust, and they know that we share this. They finally agreed for us to put double pane windows in it. If you look at the picture, you can see a whole wall is windows. And until about 3 months ago, we kept being told you had to put single pane windows back in that building. And all those windows had to be built. There's 26, is that right, David? 26 windows in it. And you can look at the pictures, there's an addition on the back. The school building cost in 1928 about $2,100. The windows to replace it are $26,000. That's going in the upgrade, but it's all being raised by grant funds and donations, private donations. So, but it is a historical building. We're looking forward to having you be able to come. Maybe sometime we can have a county commissioners meeting in there. We have made the decision, it's a two-room school, that when you walk into the building, the first thing you're going to see is a real stark classroom. It's going to replicate what it would have looked like when it opened in 2028. It closed in 1965 with the innovation. And then there'll be a portable wall. And when that opens up, it's going to be a classroom that has every bell and whistle that you could possibly imagine for taking today's modern classroom to that building, so that the students will be able to see what it was like with maybe just one little tiny light bulb. And but we've collected a lot of artifacts. We have the original chalkboard. It's actually a slate board. And one of the ladies that's on the Friends group, her mother taught there, so her mother had collected a lot of stuff when it closed. But it was in a real sad state of repair. We had a grand open, not a grand open, a groundbreaking there November the 13th, and we were so excited. And 48 doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot for us. We had them all in the building. And then when the folks started the rehabilitation, we realized the outside wall was just kind of swinging, and we thought, oh my, something bad could really have happened with those 48 in there. But we got everybody in, got them out, and had a great time. So just that's FYI information for you. It is a jewel. It's another jewel in the jewel of the mountains of Madison County. And we are looking so forward, Sandy, to having this on the list maybe by next year when you do your updates of places to go visit, because it is of significant historical importance for our county and for travel and tourism in our county. Thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Kathy Ray.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Gilliam, and Mr. Long, I am not Kathy Ray.
That's for
knows that right off. Kathy has yielded her time to me tonight. We came tonight to discuss elections, and for some of us in this room, it has been a blood sport along the way. For those of you on board facing election, I know you want to know what's going on. If there's anybody in this world who knows what's going on in the state of North Carolina concerning elections, it's Kathy Ray. And when I'm done clouding the water here, Kathy will be happy to answer any question you may have. There's been an awful lot happened in the world of elections since we met last. You're probably very aware of the lawsuits that have gone all the way to the Supreme Court concerning the redistricting of congressional races in the state. That has now had a significant impact on every county and every board of elections and every board of county commissioners in the state of North Carolina. Kathy has a copy of House Bill 2 passed by the North Carolina legislature last Friday and signed into law by Governor McCrory. And in essence, what House Bill 2 does is provide for a second primary in each county of the state on June the 7th. And those races that day will be for congressional seats, primaries for the two parties. We've never done this before, but we are sure going to get it right the first time. We wanted you to have a copy of this bill for your reading. Dr. Ray and Wade Gahagan have prepared for the March 15th primary with extensive training for everyone associated with elections, including all three of the board members. We're ready. We're ready to implement photo ID in this election. And I wanted to share with you gentlemen tonight the two terms that have been pounded into everyone's head in the state of North Carolina: reasonable resemblance and reasonable impediment. When you go to vote in March, you will be asked to show a photo ID. And a lot of people in this audience know how flippant I can be. I once said, Jackie, that the only thing that's going to impair somebody is the fellow who walks up and says, "I got one, I ain't going to show it to you." I found out down in Raleigh they get to vote too. So understand that the showing of the photo ID, this will be the first time, March 15th, we've ever done this, but we know how to do it. For your information, and those in the audience, the three judges at each of the polling places will get to determine if the photo ID presented reasonably resembles the person presenting it. Only one of those judges has to say, "Well, that looks like the person presenting." If one person, one of the three, says it looks like it, you're good. But for those folks who do not have a photo ID, refuse to show that photo ID, we are still going to let them vote provisionally. They will then come to the Board of Elections office later on before the canvass and present those things. The state, in its wisdom, setting up this second primary is going to cost every person in this room some money. When Kathy presented the budget last year, she had outlined the cost of a second primary. House Bill 2 says we're going to have a second primary. And the cost that Kathy submitted last year was $44,500, and you should have it in your budget package from last year. That's the bad news. We're going to have some extra money. We're not asking for it tonight because we want to fine tune just a little bit. The good news I have for you is that because of the actions of the Board of Elections, we will be able to reduce that request by $6,000 because of the closure of 2 early voting sites during the March primary. So when we come back, our figure is going to be somewhere around $38,500. The ballots for March are ready. Kathy's going to give you one. Here they come. These ballots that you're going to receive are specific to the precinct that each of you gentlemen vote in. Mr. Rice's ballot is not going to look just exactly like Mr. Wechtel's ballot because they live in different precincts. You will notice there's several names on there for the presidential primary that have already withdrawn and dropped out. They will still be on the ballot. The ballots were printed some time ago. The machines were programmed some time ago, and you're going to see names on there that you know good and well are not still in the race. You may vote for them if you like, Vote for anybody you want. You will also notice on your ballot congressional candidates. Here's the head rubber. We have been told by Kim Strack, the director of the State Board of Elections, to encourage everybody to vote for somebody on March the 15th, whoever you want to choose as your congressional representative from your party. Go ahead and cast that ballot. Do not leave it blank. The reason for that is there is some slim possibility that something may happen and the March 15th votes may count. We'll have to leave that to the really smart people down in Raleigh, if there are any. Paul, you didn't get that, did you? Please vote for every race on March the 15th. The bad news I have for you is that the second primaries are very, very poorly attended. Kathy and Wade and I did some research today. The last time we had a second primary, it was in July of 2012 on the 17th. We had 2.6% of the registered voters in this county who voted. That was a total for the whole day of 373 voters. We had early voting, total of 86 voters. If you divide that into our request for funds, it's going to cost this county about $129.28 for every person that walks up to the polls on June the 7th. That tears me up. I'm a conservative. That's a lot of money out of the pockets of the taxpayer of this county. I can only imagine what it's going to cost in some of the larger counties. But right now, our job is not to set policy. Our job is to implement what we're told from the state of North Carolina. So we're telling you to be prepared for a second primary June the 7th of this year. That's about all I have to say. And I brought the much smarter and better looking Kathy Ray to answer all your questions and to talk sense. Did I leave anything out? Get on up here. These people know you're the brains behind this outfit. Yes, sir, Mr. Brigman, you have a question?
I was going to ask if you could maybe give the people here a little insight on this bond, the bond referendum.
Yes, sir. The bond referendum will be voted on March the 15th.
Okay.
And that vote will stand. You will be given a chance to either vote for or against the borrowing of, help me Kathy, 2.2 billion, I think.
Yeah.
That will be a thumbs up or a thumbs down vote on that day. There's some good things that happen if you vote for that. And the bad news is you have to pay the money back. So you need to think long and hard about that. We did want to clarify, Mr. Brigman, that every presidential candidate that's on there can receive votes. And we know, and you know, that as late as yesterday or the day before, there were a few of them dropping out. We had a question asked during one of our board meetings, is there enough room on the ballot for all those names? There's 27 names on that ballot in front of you. But yes, you can vote for any of them, and we'll tabulate.
Okay.
Okay, Kat. We're ready to answer questions.
Is the 6,000, I know from closing some of those early vote sites, is that 6,000 just what we save on the second election, or is that the combined from?
That's what we'll save on the first election that we won't have to ask for
Okay.
the second election.
Okay.
So we're, in essence, we're going to pay it forward a little bit. And most everyone in the audience knows that we reduced the number of early voting sites from 5 to 3 for the March 15th election. And please let us encourage every person in this room, do early voting. It's a lot easier. Get out there, go to your site. And you can even do same-day registration during early voting. You cannot do same-day registration on election day. Oh, see, I forgot something. Kathy and the entire board of election went to Raleigh, and they told us, look, people, you're going to be spreading this election March the 15th. Does anybody know what happened March the 21st of 1993? We started snowing, and it snowed until the 15th of March, 1993, and we had about 36 inches of snow in this county. We thought it might be wise to look at our emergency plan. We will vote on that day. It really doesn't matter what's happening here in the mountains. We will vote on that day. We may not vote at every precinct if there's a foot of snow. We may have to combine. And we now have an emergency plan in place that would allow us to go to the various fire departments in the precincts if we have to, because they have generators and can operate if the power fails. But we now have in place a plan that encompasses the school superintendent, the French Broad electric manager, the DOT, the county IT department, the sheriff's department, of course, the board of elections, and the maintenance department of the county. We're ready for almost any event. Hopefully, it'll be one of those really nice days in March, and we can get everybody out. But we do have a plan in place for emergencies. Is that it?
That's it. Okay.
Happy. Say something.
You did a fine job. Now, how can I elaborate on that?
You're not paid enough to say that. This is the best director of elections in the state of North Carolina. They call her from Raleigh to ask her opinion. She does a terrific job. I fully realize that we're registered in different parties in this county, and I could care less. She is great at what she does.
Yes.
That's the first round of applause I've ever gotten at one of these.
Yes, sir.
I have I would like to say a special thank you to Sherry Davis, who is the director here at AP Tech, and also to Ross Young, who is the director over at Cooperative Extension, for hosting our staff trainings. We trained 69 staff people over the course of 3 days, and those folks were instrumental in helping us have facilities that are second to none in this state. We had a fabulous just turning out of folks to be trained, and just facilities were awesome. So.
Kathy, real quick question. Is the primary expense the staffing of these polling sites? What's the primary expense putting on one of these elections?
Yes, staffing, absolutely.
Well, there's some additional funding for printing the ballots that we have to have paper ballots, we have to have provisional ballots. But the coding of the machines also is a pretty heavy expense, running probably $10,000 for each election, maybe roughly $10,000 for getting the software, so that when you go in at Beach Glen, you get a Beach Glen ballot. If you go in the Revere Rice Cove, you get a Revere Rice Cove ballot, and that takes a lot of expertise that's done in Raleigh by the ES&S company. So that's an added expense too.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8 was deleted. Number 9, Mr. Donny.
I got a quick question for Forrest. Forrest, exactly how many county employees do we have?
We have 240 approximately full-time. It changes occasionally. And then we have just over 300 when you consider the part-timers. That includes social services, health department, and sheriff's office.
Can you get us a list of the names of the U.S. Appeals Court judges so we can personally thank them for this unexpected expense that they've bestowed upon our county? Because that's $150 per employee if we had this money. I mean, barring any other emergency that could have come up. But that's another $150 per employee that we could have in our budget for next year that now we're not going to have, because these have been tried by well, I'm not going to make it a political thing, but they finally appealed it to enough people that they finally got one court that would listen to them and put a block on this thing. And That's the problem with Washington and to some degree Raleigh is to them $44,500 means nothing, but to a county like our size, that's a pretty good chunk of change. And so if you don't mind, would you please get us those names so we can send them a letter?
I can. Be glad to do that. And I'll get others as well because I'm saying there are a lot of ways that we arrived at this, but you're absolutely right. The cost is significant, and I was grateful. We were looking last year at potentially having two primaries to begin with. They're going to do the presidential and at the very last minute, they finally moved the regular primary together. Initially, that wasn't going to happen, and now beyond their control, they've had to go back and do what they talked about. So I was glad they'd heard us before. And at one point, the state had offered to cover the cost of one of those elections, but it's a big deal to a county to hold these elections. So I'll get those.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Attorney?
Just before, I'd like to make a comment on that too. It's not the fact of what they did, it's the fact they waited until the primary was due. They could have done this last year, they could have done it 2 years ago, whatever, and we wouldn't be having to put this extra expense. I just want to throw that out. It's not what they did. It's how, and the time limit, and I don't know if they do these things on purpose or, and they, like Forrest says, if they think we got lots of money in these places, I don't know what the problem is, and they don't think about this. But I just wanted to throw out there, they could have done this a lot sooner if they wanted to do it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Attorney, your name?
That's true.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have a lease in your packet, which is a lease for the Soil and Water Conservation District. I've had an opportunity to look at that. I've not reviewed the terms of the lease as far as the period of time and the amount of money. That is for your consideration, and I would think that you've looked at that. It's $600 a month, and it's a 3-year term. I've reviewed it as to form, which would include the legal clauses that need to be in there. There are a few of the clauses that do need to be modified, which are regarding indemnification, payments of attorney's fees, and responsibilities that cannot be standard clauses in a lease with the county. And I would ask that those be removed. I think it's fairly standard. We take that position in all of the leases and the contracts that we enter into. There also needs to be a non-appropriation clause included in it. In the event the county does, this is a 3-year lease, in the event the county does not appropriate sufficient monies that we have, then we are allowed to be relieved from what is in a lease. That is a standard clause that would go into the county leases. The other question I would have, and I'm sure you all have read this lease since it's proposed, if you note in the first paragraph, the lease is with the Soil and Water Conservation District, but the signature line on page 3 is for the county to enter in, or on page 4 is for the county to be the actual tenant. It's my speculation that they're probably looking at us to pay for the lease. And I see the finance officer shaking her head. And if that is the case, the only reason that you would need to sign off on it would be to approve the funds, which is the normal process for these kinds of leases. And then it would be up to Soil and Water to actually enter into the terms of the lease and then come to us, ask for our funding. Based upon that, it would be my suggestion that Soil and Water actually be the tenant to it. I can make the modifications to the lease as to form and then tender it back to Soil and Water if the board is agreeable to the $600 a month, that is the consideration for the lease.
It was in your book, everybody had time to look over and review. Any discussion for the attorney on this?
Let's proceed as.
What have we been paying?
600.
Yeah. The lease remains the same.
Yeah, that's electricity and water. Space.
You don't need anything formal.
Do I hear a motion to approve the funds?
Is this already budgeted?
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly what I need, is a motion to approve the funds, and then I'll modify the form of the lease and give it to Mr. Gilliam and let him forward that back to Sullivan.
Okay. So
I have a motion to approve the funds. Do I have a second? Okay, I have a motion to approve the funds by Commissioner Gentry, a second by Commissioner Rice for the True Vista lease. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Okay. Mr. Forrest.
All right. Just a few updates since the January meeting. We held a budget workshop in early February, and those budget instructions have gone out to department heads as of Friday. They'll have until March 18th to fill out their requests for each of their department. As you all discussed in that meeting, every department will be asked to hold spending in line with what was done last year. They're encouraged to identify savings, but there's not a required cut because there have been a number of years where cuts had built upon each other. There's also a situation where a number of things that department heads can't control, like limited control, utilities, healthcare costs, things like that. So they're being forced to cut the things that might have a more direct benefit. Once those are back on March 19th, I will meet over the next 6 weeks with those department heads and work on places we can reduce and how we can look at that. And then in April and May, we'll have workshops with you all where you can meet with department heads and ask the question that you have about the budget and ways things can be saved and things like that. We will be sending out information to some of the groups that are outside the county that we fund, the school system being the largest, some of the nonprofits, things like that, within the coming days, just so they know what they can provide, so you have more information about what they do with that money and any requests that they have. The school construction program, which you all approved at a special meeting in January, the closing for that took place last Monday, February 15th, and it was funded on Wednesday, the 17th. That total project cost, after adjusting some of the amount that would be needed for attorney fees, is actually a little bit less. Instead of $6.5 million, it's $6.445 million, and that small amount out of that much money, but it's good to save every bit. That the contracts for Brush Creek and the early college have been signed, and work will start very soon. The smaller projects that were going on at every school, they're going to try to touch those in the summer as much as possible. The entire program, every project, whether it's painting a building or building a new building, has to be completed within 3 years. So that's all about to get working. Courthouse renovation, electrical work, and the structural work started last week. The minimal electrical work, and they pulled out until some of the other work is finished. That work is going to take place for the most part in the evenings. That should help with interfering with the court schedule. There may be times when there's no avoiding what needs to be done, and some work may have to take place during the day. We'll try to be reasonable and work around the court schedule, but at the end of the day, it's our building and it has to be fixed, so everybody's going to have to deal with some inconvenience, but we'll deal with it within reason. The deadline for completion of everything is May 17th, And we had talked last month about work on the boiler. We're seeking other quotes on that work and also analyzing some other options for heat for the building. And we'll get those back to you as soon as we have them. You all had voted at your January meeting to proceed with the appraisal of some buildings the county owns, 3 buildings. And that is underway. Site visit's been completed and they're waiting on some information about easements, things like that. They're expecting that back any day now. So I would say by your March meeting, you'll definitely have information on those appraisals. And finally, we had a visit in January from USDA, the result of the USDA Rural Development Grant. We were funded last year for $25,000 that looks at Madison County as a potential opportunity for growth in the technology sector, from call centers to software development jobs. Those folks were in town January 28th and 29th and met with a number of people. Some of y'all were able to join briefly. They also met with all of our education leaders from the school system, Mars Hill, AV Tech. We had some folks come over from Yancey County to talk a little bit about the region and issues like that. Some definite follow-up and opportunities through the Appalachian Regional Commission for funding, working with counties near us, and also some input that one of those consultants has since had with the following week. He was on a White House panel with the U.S. Secretary of Agriculture and has got some people who he can talk to about what kind of grants need to be funded to help with things like this that may come and help us in the future. Good news there, and also following up with some of the education entities regarding some potential efforts here in the county to have some software education related events and things like that would pull people from Asheville and elsewhere to try to look at Mars Hill, Marshall, and Hot Springs. Any questions about any of that or anything else?
Got a couple comments on the courthouse. I've been contacted by a couple of individuals, and it's a small potatoes compared to the other projects going on, but might literally be nothing more than a blown fuse. The light on the north side of the clock, the north side clock of the tower up there, isn't operational. And there's been questions why the lights on the porch are no longer being utilized at night.
Okay.
I think they took that light out because of bed and breakfast right above it. It was
That what the problem is.
I mean, it sounded good. Didn't it?
Oh, okay. I didn't know State Employees Credit Union was running a bed and breakfast. But
so I'll check on the clock issue. The lights on the porch at night. Y'all give me some guidance, because I think it's different. Do we want to leave lights on all night, or do we?
I took the liberty of doing a little research and found out that the lights had been replaced with LED lights. So we're talking minimal power usage. And I've just had comments aesthetically pleasing to people downtown that have the lights on the courthouse at night.
Well, we can just have the clerk's folks leave them on at night. So that's easy to fix. The upstairs one we'll fix. Unless we find out that it's deeper than we think.
Yeah, right. And it may just be a blown fuse somewhere. I know there still are, believe it or not, fuses in that building.
Yeah.
There's 3 wires left over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems.
Thank
you, Forrest.
Thank you, Forrest.
Thanks, Forrest.
Mr. Chris, man.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the time. I've got a little head cold, so I may be a little stuffed up, but when I took this job, I wanted to keep you guys informed. I think it's very important that people ask you what's going on with Parks and Rec, you guys ought to be able to know. So I'd like to do this, 2 or 3 times a year. If you have the time to let me in, I would appreciate that. I'll be brief, and you can ask any questions that you like. As far as current events, we're finishing up Youth League basketball. It's been a good year. I have not had one complaint, not one phone call. So it's got some good folks working with me on those boards. We're fixing to start baseball, softball, and soccer. Just people are trying to get some gym time for some softball or basketball still going on. So I'm flip-flopping some time to try and get everybody as much as I can. This Parks and Rec Board was finalized at your last meeting. We'll be meeting next month. I've got a hold of everybody. It took me a little while to get a hold of one of the new board members, but I got a hold of them, and we will meet next month. I already have a guest speaker lined up for that. Mr. Lee Hoffman was to come and talk about the Bailey Mountain project, so he has come to speak with them. This Saturday is the chili cook-off on the island, sponsored by the
Special Olympics.
Special Olympics, correct. So I either had the choice of jumping in the river or cooking chili, so I chose to cook chili. Yeah. So I think that is from 2 o'clock on. So if anybody wants to come and eat some chili, that's or jump in the river, whatever you like, you're more than welcome to. But I'll be there cooking. So that's a good event, and I work with Sharon Cuthbert for Special Olympics, and she does a good job. So I like her a lot. Future events. One thing that I want to do. You hear Parks and Rec a lot. You think kids, and that's the way it should be. But a lot of people told me, when I got the job, and I thought myself, I need to sprinkle in some stuff for adults, for families, whatever, whatever, just some other things that people can do. So I have got out and spoke with some businesses and set a few things up. The first one is I'm taking a group to Fowler Farms, which y'all know it's a shooting place. That's April 16th. So that's 50 people, women on that, and got a little discounted rate. Went to meet with the Fowlers, and they were very appreciative that I came, and they were going to give the Madison County folks a special rate. Also, I'm going to Sandy Bottom Trail Rides. I met with it's Jackie's granddaughter, Jacqueline. They're going to do a special deal too. We're doing that on May the 7th. And that's limited to 35 because that's all they can handle at one time. Also, I'm going to try and go to a Braves game. Well, I've had several people call me about their baseball people, and they'd like to do that. And I'm gonna try. I hadn't set a date on that, but I'm gonna try and go around mid-May for two reasons. One is Atlanta's the hottest place in the world in the summer. And two, before they get bad.
They'll still be in the race around there.
They'll be in the race. They're already bad. So that's two reasons we're going early. And also the senior games are coming up on April 2nd at Marshall University. I'm the local coordinator for those. We've not had a lot of participation on that. I've got a committee meeting. Jody Brazel and I, John Huff, several others are going to try and get some more people involved in that because I think they only had 15 last year. So it's a good day to anybody 50 and over, please come. Free lunch. We're going to throw cornhole's big now. That's an event. We're going to have several different games to do. And also I'm partnering with Madison Library for their summer program. A lot of them, they're little kids, but we're going to work, Melanie and I are going to work together on some marketing and doing some things together just to promote our own. I mean, we are separate, but we're going to try and work together as far as promoting our summer ideas. She does a little booklet every year that I'm going to try and have my stuff done before the deadline so it can go in that booklet as well. Facility updates. And I don't know if everybody knows exactly what I do. Beach Glen, I do all the scheduling at Beach Glen, from the gym to the kitchen side. We have a ton of events there. I think I gave you all something that looks like this, and maybe in your packet, I'm sorry. Should be highlighted, and it might be a little confusing because Marshall's on that as well. But all those highlighted are Beach Glen events. And that was just 1 week this summer. We have meal side every morning, a lot of them walk. Mondays, Thursdays, men's league, open gym, youth league basketball 3 nights a week, indoor soccer 2 days a week, I have a quilters club 1 day a week. Anyway, you get the drift. It's heavily used. I think I looked on my budget and this we only charge $50 for the kitchen area, $75 for the gym. That's a 3-hour window. We've taken in $5,100 in 7 months. So that's running a lot of people through there. It's well used, and like I say,
Nice facility.
it's a real nice facility. It's a perfect location, again, anything. It would really be a good idea if we had something like that in Marshall. Would be a grand idea. I know the island, we've talked about some options there. If we had something like this in Marshall, it'd be a benefit to the community. Both ways, both the gym and the community thing. When I come in on Monday mornings, my message machine is just blinking with people. Hey, can I get the so-and-so book? They're booking a year in advance now because they have family reunions, birthday parties, all kinds of things. But word's gotten out, and we take care of it. It does cost some money to maintain, but it is being used. And work with the GICA folks. Forrest and I have met with them a couple times. They're good to work with. But anyway, just going to throw that in. And the Island Gym is, I guess y'all have seen the problems there. We've got a leaky roof. When it snowed the last snow, we had a bad leak. Alan got in there and kind of, did what he could do, but it leaked for several days. I think he's got it fixed, but he said he could not do anything until it totally dried up because of those seams. It's a flat roof, so it's going to take it a while. I think he's got it, patched up for now, but that building is, in my opinion, I'm not a builder, but we need to either address some problems with spending some money on it, or it's really going to go downhill a whole lot faster than it is. The roof's leaking. The electrical system is very shoddy. Some of the lights work. Andy Greg's tried to get some replacement bulbs. He got some, they didn't work. Those are probably so old, I don't know if you can even get them anymore. But it's just old. And also, believe it or not, we're in charge of Barnard Park. You'd be surprised the coldest day of the winter. Go to Barnard Park, there will be people down there kayaking. Yeah. I mean, it's just, they use it.
I was there Saturday.
They were. This coldest spell, I had a guy call me, and they spent 4 days kayaking. They called me and told me they were going to leave their vehicles there. And I told the sheriff's department. Coldest day of the year is they were kayaking. So, that will continue. We got a guy that looks after that for us that does a good job with any kind of, vehicle, trash, whatever. He really keeps us informed. So,
Chris, can I make a suggestion to
absolutely.
you on the lighting situation down there at the gym?
Yeah.
And if I'm talking out of order, you guys stop me. But our church just recently had a lighting issue with our gymnasium, and our church is actually on Duke Progress. We're not French Broad.
Right.
But they sent a person out to take a look at everything, and we're going to upgrade everything to LEDs. And there are subsidies and grant programs through Duke that they're paying for about 75% of what we need to do. I don't know if French Broad Electric has the ability or desire to offer anything like that, but you might want to start there if you haven't already checked with them.
Don't mind to ask. Yeah, sure. Don't mind at all. Any other questions that I can?
We hear good things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
What
Appreciate
I've
you
heard
doing the
from
job you're doing.
parents and others that I've heard good comments.
Thank
I
you
want
so
to know
much. Any suggestions y'all have, please feel free to tell me and let me know. All right. All right.
Thank you for what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Darlyne.
Okay, the first item I have is your financial report for the month of January. And at this time, we should be at 58.33% in expenses and revenues. As you can see on the third page, our gain loss to date, we've gained $2,961,541.69. Last year at this time, we were at $2,047,262. So we're doing better on our revenues and expenses.
And in looking at these that are more than the 58.33%, Darny, there's various reasons that they're that, but mostly because
Are you looking at the
budget.
revenues?
Yes.
Revenues. We'll, some revenues now, like on our taxes, we'll start seeing those possibly go down because we've hit our high lines.
Right.
But also we have like some taxes that, and revenues that don't come in until June. That would be one, so.
Okay. All right.
And if you'll notice on the bank balances, I put them in different categories to maybe help with some of the questions we've had. I put unrestricted and restricted, broke them out in the funds.
Well, yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay. And then we have budget amendment number 7. This deals with new grant funding for the library for $3,000. In soil conservation, we're moving some lapsed salaries into education and travel. Soil conservation also received 2 new grants, one for $15,000, one for $20,000. And then in finance, we're moving some money into to our budget for a phone system.
That library grant, just so everybody here knows, that award is given out to one library in the United States every year, and our library won. So that's a big deal. Even though it's in library land, $3,000 is a lot of money for a grant. So that's proud of them for that.
Okay. Any discussion for Darlyne on our budget amendment 7? Do I hear a motion to approve budget amendment 7?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion for approval of budget amendment 7 by Commissioner Gentry, second by Commissioner Wechtel. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Okay.
Next, you have the January tax refunds and property tax releases.
Okay. Any questions for Darlyne or discussion on the property release? Refund? No? Do I hear a motion to approve January tax refunds and releases?
So moved.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve tax refunds and releases by Commissioner Rice, second by Commissioner Gentry. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise.
Okay, the next item I have is the engagement letter and contract for the annual audit. I have a proposal from Gilliam. In the packet.
Turn that microphone a little bit. Maybe that'll help. From what I could find, this seems to be basically the same contract as they've done previous years.
It is, it's standard contract.
Laws, any Any advice on that one, sir?
No, you've gotta have one, and they've been your auditor for several years. I have no issues regarding the form of that proposal.
Thank you, sir.
Any discussion from the board for Darlyne on this?
At some point, do we need, no offense to this firm, but do we need to consider a new set of eyes looking at our books? If the
Yeah.
same set of eyes have been looking at it for 7 or 8 years, would it benefit the county? And this is just a question. Would it benefit the county to have a new set of eyes look at it?
Are you asking me that?
Yes.
Okay. That would be totally up to you. What I like about having the same firm is that they know our system, our software, and hardware. They know, they know our programs. They need. I know I'm on the Hot Springs Health Board, and we've used the same people for many years. Same firm. But it's totally your decision.
I know in our review and budget meeting, they just kind of stressed that they kind of knew our people too.
Yeah.
So that kind of, there wasn't the natural defenses that pop up when somebody new comes in and starts poking around, I guess. That Commissioner Gentry's, or I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I did that to you again, didn't I? Clayton.
No problem.
To his point, to Clayton's point, I can understand why a new set of eyes would be beneficial.
But I mean, as you could see, from the last audit, they do write me up if I've done something wrong.
And that was not an indictment of them whatsoever.
No,
I understand.
I just think
Yeah.
at some point, we need to have a new audit.
Any more discussion? Do I hear a motion to approve the firm of Gilliam CPA Group to perform 2016 audit?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a second. I have a motion from Commissioner Gentry to approve the audit firm for a 2016 annual audit, and a second by Commissioner Wechtel. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Okay.
Okay, the next thing I have is engagement letter with Sydney Mashburn. Sydney is the person that I use to come down to help me with the items that I cannot do repair. I'm not a CPA.
And this is directly to address one of the things we were written up for, correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
She has helped us in the past, but we didn't have the engagement letter.
Okay.
And it's a minimal amount of time that they.
The fee is reasonable.
Correct. I know what my CPA costs. I wish I could get them for this.
Yeah.
So I'll make, we need a motion for this.
Yes.
I'll make that motion. So moved.
So I have a motion, so I have a second.
Second.
And a second. A motion by Commissioner Wechtel for the engagement with Sydney Mashburn for consulting services relating to the audit. A second by Commissioner Rice. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Okay.
Okay, the final thing we have is the board vacancies.
Okay. Before you, you have your board vacancies for February 2016. And we will take, in the first block there, we will take those one at a time since they are all, well, two of them are the same, but we will take those one at a time. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for the Land and Sky Rural Planning Organization.
I would move that Matt Wechtel be appointed to that position.
This is a position that is the alternate for the commissioner. Is it an alternate position? I have a nomination of Matt Wechtel. Any more nominations? None. At this time, I will close the nominations for Land of Sky Rural Planning Organization alternate. We have a nomination of Matt Wechtel for the Land of Sky Rural Planning Organization. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Okay. Board of Health. We have two positions here with the Board of Health. I will take the first one there. I assume that she is not wanting to stay, Darlene, is that right?
I really don't know.
Forrest, do you know?
She had been appointed midterm to replace Dr. Yancey last year. And it missed, Tammy forgot to get that in at the last meeting because Dr. Yancey's 3-year term would have expired in December. So this is for a full term for Dr. LaHue, who was appointed sometime last year as the physician representative.
So is she willing to serve?
She's willing to serve.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So we'll make a change there and we'll. For the Board of Health, first position there, I will open the floor for nominations. Do I have any?
I nominate Dr. Karen LaHue.
Okay. We have a nomination of Dr. Karen LaHue. Any more nominations? At this time, I will close the floor for nominations for the position of Board of Health for physician. We have a nomination of Dr. Karen LaHue for physician for Board of Health. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like, excuse me. Board of Health also, we have a RN position that is vacant. At this time, I will open the floor for nominations for the RN position on Board of Health.
Mr. Chairman, last meeting, I talked about a nurse that was interested. Couldn't get the confirmation from her in time for our last meeting. She has confirmed that she's interested. She has filled out the appropriate application with the county. And at this time, I would like to nominate Ms. Rachel Smith as our RN position on the Board of Health. I took the liberty to discuss that with Tammy, and Tammy was very pleased with that idea as well.
Okay. We have a nomination of Rachel Smith. Any more nominations? I will nominate Tony Clark. That's Toni. Okay. At this time, I will close the nominations for the RN position for Board of Health. We have 2 nominations. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
She's a nurse.
At the same practice as Dr. LaHue.
Excuse me?
The same practice.
So,
Yes.
okay.
Well,
So, yeah.
yeah, she had submitted her application. So.
Is there a conflict of interest
That's
situation?
what
I mean,
we're
is there
looking at. It may be. That's what we were looking at. We will just continue. I'll be okay. Okay. At this time, we have a Rachel Smith for Board of Health. A nomination for Rachel Smith. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? And we have a Tony Clark. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Well, no. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir.
When the vote is a 4-1 vote on that one position, that ceases the nominations, correct?
You can, for all practical purposes, it does. I mean, you
Okay.
can go ahead and call the second person if
Yes.
you choose, but
Okay.
once you get for a majority, that
Okay.
ends that election.
And then we have a nomination for Tony Clark for Board of Health. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, likewise. Well, I mean, we did. It was. It's good. Everything's good. Now we have the Nursing Adult Care Home Advisory Board.
Chairman,
I open the floor for nominations for the Nursing Adult Care Home Advisory Board.
I would like to nominate Donna Parker.
Okay. Any more nominations for the Nursing Adult Care Home Advisory Board?
Does that finally fill that board out? Because we have, okay.
I think
that's
so.
been- We've worked on that for the whole time I've been on the board anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well keep looking for people.
Okay.
You know,
Is that a warning?
That's not a very good sales pitch there, Forrest.
it's a great board, but people just go off, and there are enough people on there to where there's always a rotation going on.
This time of year, it needs to be changed to 10 years.
Okay. At this time, I will close the nominations for the Nursing Adult Care Home Advisory Board. We have a nomination of Donna Parker. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session for General Statute 143-318.11 for attorney-client privilege and personnel?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Gentry for closed session, second by Commissioner Rice. All those in favor, raise your right hand. We are in closed session.
Standard location.
Hey, man.
Sir. What I
I did.